Hey guys, this is Bobo from Heli Freak. I just want to make a short video. Hopefully it'll be short, and the reason I say that because I tend to be a little bit long-winded. But just a follow-up or sort of an add-on to the YouTube video out there titled Spartan Vortex Flight Mode Selection. That video was made by Angulus of Spartan RC, and in that video he covers an introduction of how the gyro menu of your transmitter works to select the flight mode of the Vortex. And he goes on in that video with some charts, overlays on a servo, which basically explain completely how that works. It's a very clear explanation, and I'm not going to try to add to that at all. But what I want to show in this video is basically how a specific transmitter works to make that happen. In my case, it's a X9303, and instead of using the gyro menu as Angulus has mentioned in his video, my radio uses the governor menu. And as he said, it's the same thing. It's just a servo signal, but instead of it coming from a gyro menu of the transmitter, it comes from the governor menu. But it's the same thing. It's a servo signal that the Vortex will recognize and interpret based upon whatever values you put in there as to what flight mode you get when you toggle your flight mode switch. So he also mentioned the live screen in the data pod, and that's what I'd like to show you here, is basically how the slider on the live screen will show you where you are in your adjustment as to if you're getting the flight mode you want or not. And it basically works just like the chart and the overlay did in his video, only this is with the actual data pod. So what you see on the screen there is the governor menu of my radio. When you first enter the governor screen, all the values will be 0, and those will need to be adjusted. The screen you see on the data pod right now is the home screen, and in order to get to the live screen that Angulus mentioned, let me just zoom in on it a little bit here. You'll need to press the move it over, the S button to get to the, keep pressing it to get to the system or the setup menu, rather, the setup menu. Then use the plus and minus buttons to go down to transmitter and hit the S button again. And so what you see here indicated by the bar on the left is live. So that's the screen that Angulus was referencing in his video, was the live screen. Now you can see at the bottom of that screen it shows gyro 0%. Well, that basically corresponds with, let me get a pointer out here, the signal that the Vortex is receiving from the transmitter, which is 0%. Here's my 4 different flight modes that were mentioned in the original video by Angulus: normal, stunt 1, stunt 2, and hold. That's what the governor menu of the X9303 will give you instead of a gyro menu as you might have in other radios. So what I'll do is show you the slider down here that he mentioned. This is what he was talking about, the slider, and you'll see once I start making adjustments to the values here how that actually works as a slider. And right now it's indicating a number 1, which means that the signal that the transmitter is putting out right now, 0%, puts the Spartan Vortex into stunt number 1 or idle 1. So this is what we'll do from this point, and as you're setting up your Vortex for the first time, you want basically your transmitter signal to put the data pod into the flight mode you want it to. So in other words, when you're in normal mode on your transmitter, you want the data pod to be in normal mode. When you flip to stunt 1 and 2, you want the data pod to do the same. And of course, when you flip into hold, you want the data pod to reflect that it's also in hold. So as you can see, there is a mismatch here because it's not been set up. What you see is that my transmitter, indicated by the little arrow there, is in normal mode on the flight mode switch. However, the Vortex is recognizing it as being in stunt 1. So here's what we'll do. We'll adjust the value of normal mode and have it so the Vortex recognizes the signal and puts itself into normal mode. So this is what you do. You basically adjust the value and you watch the slider down here, and you'll see that number 1, which is indication of stunt 1, at a certain point along the adjustment it will turn into a letter N. And we're going to go negative here, and you'll see that 1 moving to the left, and there it just turned to an N. So this is not where you want to leave it though, because this is basically just the threshold of where it recognizes the signal and converts it to normal mode on one end. You'll see that there's a range. It starts at about -20 on my radio, but as I move it, you'll see where it switches over to the letter H right there. It might be difficult to see on the data pod screen, but right now it's N for normal, and right now it's H for hold. So basically it was a range of about 40 points. So instead of so we want normal mode. Instead of leaving it at just one of the thresholds, high or low, we'll just stick it somewhere in the middle, and I end up with -50%. Okay, so you've got normal mode set. What you want to do now is set stunt 1. Really simple, is just to flip over to the stunt 1 setting on your transmitter, flip the flight mode switch on your transmitter to stunt 1. You'll see that it followed, and you'll see, of course, we started out with the Vortex recognizing 0% as stunt 1. And just as with normal mode, there is a range of the signal that it will recognize and use for stunt 1, and basically that is there, -21, and you'll see it's changed to stunt 1, and we'll go up to a positive number, and there it just changed to 2. So 22, it's a range of about 40 points. So again, we don't want it on either end. We'll put it right in the middle, 0%. Okay, switch to stunt 2 in the menu, toggle the flight mode switch to stunt 2. Now you'll notice, because it's reading the 0% in the menu, stunt 2 is not giving me stunt 2 yet in the Vortex. So same thing, take that value and increase it, and you can see the slider. The number 1 is actually moving over to the right, and there it just turned to a 2. And it also has a range. You'll see it goes up from like 20 something to 60 some before it switches to hold. So about 40 points signal range there. So again, we'll put it about somewhere in the middle, end up at 50% is safely in the middle of the range there. So one last flight mode, go over to hold, 0%. When I flip into hold, watch what happens. It goes back to stunt 1, and it's because we haven't adjusted that value. So hold in this case can go either way. The Vortex recognizes a signal on the far extremes of the channel as being throttle hold. So I could go far negative or far positive. But since I've already started with normal and gone up through 1 and 2, I'll just go ahead and go on the positive direction. And you'll see it's went over to stunt 2, and shortly here it will switch right there to hold. So it does it at 64, and if I keep going, it will eventually stop when I reach the channel endpoint limit, 125 I think it is there, and it's still in hold. So what I'm going to do is just put that safely somewhere in the middle, 100, and be done. So now what you want to do as a last point of verification is to just toggle through your flight modes to make sure that when you select a flight mode on your transmitter, you're getting the proper indication on the data pod that the vortex is also in that flight mode. So right now I'm in hold. I'll toggle out of hold, goes to 2, verify that my flight mode switch is in stunt 2. I'm going to toggle the flight mode switch to stunt 1. You'll see that the vortex changed to stunt 1. I'm going to toggle it to a normal mode, and you'll see also that it switches to normal mode. And of course, if you want to take it one extra step, you could check the throttle hold switch in each flight mode. So there's normal, I'll toggle hold, switches to hold, switches back, stunt 1, hold and back, stunt 2, hold and back. Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to show, is just to add on to the excellent video by Angulus, and this radio specifically. If you have any questions about it, go ahead and look in the description of the video. There should be a link in there to the thread that I started on the 9303 a little while ago when I first got the Vortex, and ask them there if they're specific to the radio in this video. And of course, your primary resource for any Vortex or Spartan RC questions should be the Spartan RC official website, and then you can also ask on HeliFreak whenever you want. So I hope this video helped a little bit, and enjoy your Vortex.